Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to A Year in Bodybuilding. This is episode 15. Today I'll be taking you guys through a bunch of recent training footage from the past 2 weeks. This right here, what you're seeing is some underhand barbell rows. These are one of my favorite exercises for back. This is actually my heaviest back exercise for the entire week. I'm also doing weighted pull-ups, but this is like the heaviest horizontal back movement of the entire week. And I've really been enjoying it. Personally, I just feel the exercise a lot better than doing a normal bent barbell row, but chances are I'll be back to the normal bent barbell row anyways, just because it's such a stimulating movement, and I'm definitely going to be including a lot more big movements in the future, which is something I'll be getting into in just a little bit, just later in this voiceover. So right here we have some Kelso Shrugs. This is the exercise that I showed you guys pretty sure last video. There have been some technique changes that I've made to make this exercise a lot better. So last week I was going more into, like, when I was doing the actual retraction, so at the top of the movement I was going into a lot of shoulder elevation, which is something that you actually want to avoid. I actually ended up talking to Nick Gloff about my technique. I mentioned him in one of my posts recently, and he told me that kind of like what I was doing is going way more into elevation than I should be at the top. Like, the top should be more of retracting your shoulder blades and also depressing them. So not treating it like a normal shrug where you elevate your shoulders, but instead staying in retraction, just really getting your shoulder blades and your shoulders to retract well. And then at the bottom of the movement, you can really go into protraction and elevation of your shoulders in order to get that deep stretch. And so far, I've really been enjoying this movement. It's one of my favorite movements right now. And I definitely need to get stronger at it and also learn how to push myself closer to failure, because I think that's like one issue that I have with it, is that it's such a crazy movement because the stretch just feels crazy that I feel like I stop a little bit too early. So that's something that I kind of want to improve, is that I want to increase my set quality and efficiency, which is something that is always going to be a thing that people should always strive to improve, because there's always things you could do better. Here is some incline dumbbell press. Been really enjoying this movement as well. As you can see, using that full range of motion that we should be using. This is with the 75s, I believe, in the 5 to 10 rep range. And I'm basically having chest on like one of my back days, and then I also have chest on another day where I have some front delt work. So I actually have standing overhead press, which is something I'll be showing you guys probably in next video, because I have not recorded that quite yet. Here's just some normal JM press with a barbell. This has been an exercise that I really enjoyed, and I made a ton of progress during my sophomore year of college. Now I'm in my junior year of college, and I'm actually gonna be going back to school in about a week from today, which is pretty nuts. This summer has gone by crazy quick just because I've started online coaching now, and really each day is like a day that I really enjoy. So it's not like I go into another day of work and just absolutely hate it or something like that. Like, I really enjoy doing what I do right now. So that's probably why the summer went by so quickly, I'd say. Here we have some conventional deadlifts. This is something that you guys haven't seen for a while. I actually did sumo deadlifts last mesocycle, but personally I have some leg length differences. So basically my right leg, I believe, is like an inch or so longer than my left one. I don't know if it's quite that severe, but it's definitely to a point where it messes up my hip position a lot, and I find that probably contributed a lot to my SI joint injury, which I had during powerlifting. But I don't get any issues with normal stiff-legged deadlifts with a barbell or with these, so that's kind of weird. But I think it's probably because I put more of the tension on my hamstrings and don't focus so much on my hip position as you would have to with the sumo deadlifts. So I'm going to be pushing conventional deadlift a ton in these next coming months because I really want to grow my erectors. Like, personally, I need to grow my back a lot, which is something I talked about last video, but I also need to focus on growing my spinal erectors, which is a big part of the back. Like, that's something I need to get bigger. So I'll be doing the conventional deadlift for many months. Shay and I are actually planning on doing a strength block, which is over Christmas break. So in about 4 months from now or so. I'm not exactly sure how far away that is, but at that point we're going to be doing a strength block with the conventional deadlift in there. So we'll be using, powerlifting belts and shit and lifting really heavy. So I'm excited for that. Here is some Smith machine squats. Been really enjoying this movement as well. I've been really getting into a groove with it recently, which is, I guess, somewhat unfortunate because my school doesn't have a Smith machine. So I'll probably be taking the Smith machine out, but replacing it with hack squats. I won't be doing normal barbell squats for a little while. I want to see how conventional goes, because like the reason that I've not been using so many big movements recently is just because of the whole like lower back / hip thing that I was mentioning. It's definitely not a fun thing to experience. So if I can avoid like getting any issues with it, I do, which is why I use movements like this and things that aren't quite as actually fatiguing. And like I can still get a lot of leg progress from other movements like the Smith machine squat, but just aren't so actually fatiguing like the normal barbell squat. But don't get me wrong, I'd love to do that exercise again, and I'm slowly going to be working back into, which is something that I'm really focusing on going forward. I actually have a movement right now that I'm using to kind of fix the issues with my hips at least, and that's going to be the contralateral split squat, which is I'll show you in just a second here. But this right here is just some normal seated hamstring curls. This is an exercise that I absolutely love. The machine here at the YMCA isn't that great, but it's all right. And the one at school is like way better, so I'm excited to get back there and start using that again. But as I said, I'm going to be back at school in about a week. So basically, I'm going to be like absolutely sending this next week of training super hard, and then more than likely taking like a half deload during my next week. So when I get actually back to school, just so I can get used to the machines again, get used to the equipment at school. Unfortunately, all of the equipment there is like bumper plates. I don't like bumper plates at all. Absolutely freaking hate them. But it's just something that I'll have to deal with, and it's not gonna, affect my gains at all anyways. So might as well not focus on it and make as much progress as I can. Really excited for this mass though. Like my hunger's been amazing recently, and like I've literally been getting hungry before every single meal, which is something that I rarely experienced in the past, and it feels really good. I think that's probably mostly because I did the permabulk for so long. So now that I've taken an actual cut and not just a mini cut, it's definitely much improved. So here's a contralateral split squat here on my right leading foot here. This is where I seem to find a lot of like imbalance and balance issues. So like that's why I'm using the stick here, is just because like my balance is so terrible on this foot compared to the other one. And that's something I really want to improve, because like I've never really included single leg work, and I think it's like a limiting factor on some of my other lifts, because like with movements that you're using both of your legs at the same time, it kind of like covers up whatever imbalances you have or whatever balance issues you have. So I definitely want to focus on making all of that better so I can make more progress on the big movements eventually. So it's almost like an investment right now that I'm making in order to be able to do those big movements again and make a ton of progress on them and increase my efficiency. So that's about it for this voiceover here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. But we got a physique update right now. I will catch you guys next time. Later.